some of the top factors affecting international wheat for this year. And I'll touch on some of the points, but the presentation is available on the website. So if you want to look at some of the details, here you have them in writing as well. But again, so we increased global wheat production, which is the largest on record. But we also have consumption up by 4%, and it's also a record. So its consumption is up in the world, and that includes not only the traded number, but also the domestic consumption in the various countries, which is very important, obviously, in the EU 27, in China, in the very large producers. And consumption is up by almost 30 million tons, which is also very significant. Trade, and that's where we hope to fit in better in the future, I think, is also expected to increase by 8%. We are in excess of 140 million tons traded now, and I think, there should be some room for some more consistent participation. Again, important importers, EU. Some of the export forecasts, it's interesting to look at a little bit of the detail, and particularly this year there has been a big shift from last year by Black Sea exports, which changed last year. There were only around 14 million tons due to weather problems in that region, and this year they came in style again, and they're expected to reach, in fact they're not all that far away from it now, 35.5 million tons. So you can see that's a huge difference to the previous year, and we'll have that on a graph as well. It's very, very important to know if the Black Sea comes in in style in any given year or not, because it also affects the speed of flow from the United States. Black Sea countries can't store everything they produce, so they tend to rush to the ports right following harvest. There's a lot of pressure on the market to pump it out into the markets, particularly into the Middle East, and it tends to be reflected in prices. So if the Black Sea countries have very good crops and good harvests, we tend to have some weakness in the fall, and the U.S. exports tend to lag a little bit and then start catching up in the late winter, and that's what we're seeing this year. So, in the fall we were talking a lot about the comparison of export numbers in the U.S. To the previous year, and we kept lagging behind because the Black Sea countries were pushing a lot of product onto the market. So it does have a fairly big effect on price. So year to date, U.S. exports are still down, and they probably won't catch up to next year, to the past year, which is not, actually all that tragic. If you look at the overall picture, and EU exports are expected to fall. The one thing that's very significant for the wheat overall numbers is that the world feed use is up substantially by about 16%. To in excess of 130 million tons. So that's something we have to follow in future years as well. In my opinion, as long as corn prices stay quite high, we will see increased usage of wheat going forward. That's very, very good, but it's not necessarily, very positive for high quality exporters. And just the